In this video we're going to check out how pagers work in Jetpack Compose, and they're similar to how ViewPagers work in the old UI system. So here we have a page, and this is a pager that is connected to the tab menu on the top, and I can swipe between these pages, and the tab will also change the value, and the data between the pages are cached, so it's not that we will have a loading screen or anything in between them. And if I press the tabs, I will also directly change the current data on the screen to the pager's data. And that's about it. What we're going to go to Composable function, and I will just name it pager. Very easy to remember. So what we're going to start off by doing is create a column. And what do we want on the top of the column? We want a tab row for the tabs. And this is taking in an argument called selected tab index to remember what tab is currently selected. And that value is something that's gonna need to change and be remembered throughout the navigating with the tabs or swiping on the page. So we're going to create a variable called selected tab. We write by remember so we can get the value of it. And here we're going to write mutable int state of. So it's a mutable integer. And we can for now just write 0. And here we are just going to import a few things like that. Press Alt Enter and you will import them. And we can put this in here. And now the first selected tab index is going to be tab number 0. So we'll leave it like that for now. And what do we want below the tab? We want the screen with the pager data. And I want to be able to swipe from left to right. So we're going to use a horizontal pager. And this takes in a state to remember the state of this pager. So what is going on, where are we, how much have we swiped, and stuff like that. So we're going to create a variable for that as well. I'm going to create it above here, and I will write val pager state equals remember pager state. And it can take in an argument here that's called initial page. So what page should we start on? And I'm going to write a 0. And the argument, or the thing you write in here, is an integer, and it's the page count. So we're going to write in here how many pages do we want. So if you would have a list of data that you want to represent each item in that list to be a page, then you would take the arrays or the list size as the maximum number. But I'm going to just write 3 here. And we need to opt in for experimental foundation API like this to be able to use it without a warning. And this pager state has a bunch of data for us. So instead of a 0 here to start on page 0, I want to use the pager state, and I want to start on so the tab reflects that the current page that we're currently on. So in here, for the state, we put in the pager state. And now you can do a bunch of different things here, but I'm going to start off by making 3 different composables here. Or I'm going to make 1 to start off, and I'm just going to write screen 1, and this is gonna take in an integer called page number, and it's going to be a string. And here I just want a text that is the page number, like so. And here we get an data called an integer. This is the current page, so we can write like this to make it easier. So we have the current page, which is remembered from the pager state. So I'm going to use this screen 1, and I'm going to take that the page number is equal to the current page dot to string. like so. And if you would run this, we would actually already be able to swipe between 3 different screens, and it would show the current page number. So we can try that. And don't forget to add the pager in here in the onCreate, where you had the greetings function before. So I'm gonna let this load and show you what. So a couple of things I just forgot to do. In the screen 1, we are going to create a column, and we're going to put this text inside the column. And in here, we're going to make it look a bit better. So we're going to write horizontal alignment equals center horizontally. And we're going to write vertical arrangement and arrangement.center. And we're going to use a modifier equals modifier.fill max size, because we want this text, the screen below the tab row, to take up the whole screen. So if you run this quickly, we will now have a 0 in the middle of the screen, and as you can see, we can swipe and we get a 1 and a 2, and that's the maximum. So we have three screens decided by this number, and we start at number 0. So now we want to create some tabs, so let's do that. And we do that inside the tab row. So I'm going to make a for loop here, because I want to make as many rows as the maximum number of pages we have. So if we do index in 0 until pager state dot page count, this means that we will loop from 0 with the index until we are at the maximum number of screens we have, so until 3. But we start at 0, so it's 0, 1, and 2. So for that, for each of those, I want to create a tab like so. I'm gonna make this a bit easier to read, like that. And if it's selected equals if the current index is the same as the selected tab. So this will highlight the tab, and if the index that it currently is the same as the current value of the selected tab, then we are on that tab and we want it to be selected. And when we click on a tab, we want to make that the selected tab is equal to the index. So when we click on number 0, the first one, the selected tab should be number 0 and equal to the index. So if you click on number 1, it will be number 1, and that will not change the current page here, but that's something we're going to add later. So we have a tab, and we want the tab to have a text, and I'm going to write tab and money number and index. So the tab will just say tab 0, 1, 2, etc. I will also add a modifier to make it look a bit better. Dot padding. I'm going to write vertical. Let's do 8. That's probably fine. So let's see how it currently looks. And as you can see, we have our tabs, and if you press them, it will change, but the screen is not changing. So how do we fix that? We do that by using something called launched effect. So this launched effect takes in a key, and every time that key changes its value, we can do something. So for example, when the selected tab is changed, when we're pressing here, we want to change the screen according to that number. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to use our pager state that controls the state of the horizontal pager. So when the tab number is changed, we want to pager state, we want to scroll to that page. So if I press on number 0, I want this pager to scroll to page 0. If I press 1, I want it to scroll to page 1. And you can see here we're setting the selected tab equal to the index, so it's going to be correct. And it's the same that when I swipe here, I also want the tabs to change. So how do we do that? we can do that by having another launched effect. But this time the key is going to be the states, page states current page. So when the current page changes by, for example, swiping, we want to change the selected tab. It's that easy. So we want the selected tab to be equal to the current page. So let's try that out. So now if I swipe, you can see we get a 1, we get a 2, and the tabs are changing. And the same, if I press here, the pager is scrolling to that data. And you can do a lot of different things here. You can do, instead of current page, you can take the target page, which is the one you're about to go to. And you can also take the settled page, which is the page it has settled to. And you can also have the initial page and current page. So this works great if you would, for example, have a list of data. But how do you do when you don't have a list? Maybe you want to have 3 different screens with different kinds of views. That I'm going to show you now. So we're going to copy this and let's do so. I'm going to change these to screen 2 and screen 3, and we will remove these and write, I am now on a screen without an index input, for example. And I am now on screen 3. So how do we do that with the pager? Because now we're currently using the index to decide what's written. Well, we can use in Kotlin something called a when statement. And when the now it's not it's current page. So when the current page changes, something will happen. So when the current page is 0, let's go to screen 1 with the current page value. I need to make this to string. And when the current page is 1, I want to go to screen 2. And when it's 2, I want to go to screen 3, like so. You can also add an else statement here, in case that you have some logic that it can be something, some other. You can just write screen, whatever, like so. Let's see, let's run this. And now we're at tab 0, we have a 0, we are using screen 1, and we're telling the page number to be the current page, which is a 0. If I go to 2, we are at index 1, we show screen 2 with our custom text. And if I go to 3, we are at index 2 and we're showing screen 3. And if something would happen to mess this up to go to number 4, even though we don't have it, we would have gone to screen 2 instead of crashing or not knowing what to do. So that's pretty much it. And now you have a working pager similar to how ViewPager would work in the old UI system. So thank you for watching and see you next time.